Good afternoon. Yes, I was going to say I'm not Muikari. I'm Rose Mwaniki. I worship at Parklands SDA Church. And the auntie to Phyllis is my great friend. We've known each other for many, many years. And so I want to say something. I want to say something about leaving a legacy, a financial legacy. And my base for talking about this is in the faith I have in God's word. So, Phyllis, I'm a financial person, but I'm not going to talk as a professional. I'm going to talk as a Christian mother to you and to your husband to be. And so the words I'm going to speak are not my words, they are God's words. And I don't know what money means to you, both of you. I don't know what it does. Because, you know, when we talk about personal finance, it's really personal. So everybody has a way of interpreting what it is. But I will avoid even saying what I think about money myself. I will say what God says about money. Because when you say you want to leave a legacy, it means that you want to leave behind an influence in relations to money. And so, Phyllis, I know you've worked for some while. I was trying to find out where you work, and I know you've worked for a while. And so you know about money, and I believe Sam also knows about money. So what I'm here to do is just to remind you and to encourage you to handle money the Lord's way. And why I say this is because God has given us 4 gifts in this life. So as you go into your marriage, remember that you have 4 gifts God has given you. God has given you time. God has given you your body, God has given you talents, and God has given you treasures. And all the 4 are important to God. Because there is a day, Phyllis and Sam, you are going to give an account of how you used every of these goods. And it is a serious matter because many people will lose heaven, not because they were sinners and saved, not because they did not know God, but just because they did not handle the gifts God had given them. And so it is important for you to really think critically about this subject so that you do not miss heaven, because your marriage should be able to make it easier for both of you to make it home. So you must remember that it's on that I'm talking. So truly, what is money? Money, of course, we know is a medium of exchange. And this medium of exchange is what enables us to accumulate wealth. Because you see, if I want a house, I must first work so that I get money, and then I can get the house. If I want a vehicle, I must work so that I can, I can be able to buy that vehicle. Whatever it is you want, the origin is money. And so God is not silent about money. He has spoken about it over and over again. Let me surprise you. In the Word of God, we have 2,300 verses that talk about money. If you are to take time in your marriage to read just one verse that talks about money, it will take you 6 years and 3 months. Is that a small subject, Phyllis? It's a very, very important subject. And that is why many marriages are in trouble, because they do not know how to handle money. And so, if only you can go back to God's word, He will tell you exactly how to handle this. And you leave behind a legacy, no doubt about it. And so God has given us 4 tools that I just want to mention. But when you want to know more, come to my house, we talk. You are welcome. Once you start your life, come to my house, we can talk a little more. But God has told us, every time I give you some money, plan for it. So I know you know how to plan. But I also know as a professional, it's very easy to say you are planning, but many people don't have a personal budget. I want to encourage you to have a family budget. First, to have a personal budget, then you combine it, family budget, you leave a legacy. I can assure you. You can be sure that you leave a legacy. And because the word of God says that who is going to build a tower will not sit down and first count the cost. He's talking about budgeting. So because I'm going to send you these notes, you'll be able to see. Luke chapter 14, 28 to 30. It talks about how you need to put down your plan so that you can use your money well. And I can tell you, a budget will always tell your money where to go instead of you spending and asking where your money went. And many of us fight over, where did my money go? Where did our money go? If you learn to plan, just put a simple plan. And these days we can plan on our phone, you can plan on your computer, you can write it down, whatever it is. Make a plan for your money. Make it at personal level. Make it at family level. You will never ask each other questions about money because everyone is very sure where money is being directed. And so if you want to leave a legacy, the Lord Jesus says, make a personal plan for every money that comes to your home, and you will not fight over money. Many people talk about communication being bad, but if you look at the inside, whatever is troubling them actually is the way resources have been applied. And so we have a model that I really encourage young people or people who are getting into marriage, or even just people who are single and want to manage their money well, is that the first place to direct your money is to God. I don't want you to forget. Direct your 10%. You know what it is. Direct the tithe to God. You will see what he can do. He says, try me. If you try God with your money, you are inviting him in your union, and he's going to bless you. Then put in something more for other offerings in church. We know in our church we are encouraged to put in another 10. So if you learn to plan and apply some to God, you are telling him, God, you are welcome into a marriage in money matters, and you leave a legacy. Every time we leave, we put something into God's storehouse, we are building the kingdom to come. And I don't think there is any other legacy that is as important as being part of the building of the kingdom of God. So Phyllis and Sam, I want to welcome you to this very noble way of managing money. He says, put a plan, but start with me. You see, start with God, and everything else will go right. Then the second one, the Bible says, put something for a rainy day. I know you have worked for a while. If I was talking to very young people, I know they would say, maybe I don't have enough, I don't have something to put aside. Please always put aside something. Do not spend all your money. However much it is, however little it is, always put some aside. We always say, if you want to really be a good saver, start with 10% of what you earn. You'll be surprised at how much money we just throw away. But if you learn to keep it, you keep on accumulating. And again, Jesus is really the master saver. If you remember when he fed 5,000 men, and they didn't count women and children, meaning that we are talking of probably 20,000 people. What happened is that after they had eaten to the full, what did he say? Gather the fragments. So when we talk about savings, we are talking about gathering the fragments. You know, I come from a community that will tell you that savings or riches are built by what is left. You know, whatever you are not using now is what you're going to use tomorrow to be able to build your wealth. And so it is important for you, for whatever little or however much you have, every time you have some money, please put some aside. We start with as little as 10%, and then you keep on building. Then the last thing I want to say there is invest, invest, invest. You have already invested in heaven, Your tithe is building the kingdom of God. Your offerings are building the kingdom of God. Your savings that you are putting aside will not give you wealth. Keep on investing it. Put it in a house so that it earns you some money. Put it in land. Land always appreciates. Put it in education for your children. That's an investment. Put it somewhere so that it can be able to build, and truly you can be able then to, get the value for your money. And so when you want to really know where to invest, Proverbs 31, Phyllis, must be your study. Proverbs 31, 10 to 30, it talks about all investments. But we always say, if you want to invest and invest well, ask for advice. Don't go it alone. Always ask for advice. Even when you want to buy a house and you could have a house already, it's good to always to talk to somebody. When you want to buy land, always talk to somebody. Make sure that you go with advice. You do not want to throw away your savings, which you have really given, out of a squeezed budget. You don't want to throw it away. So it's very important for you to then ask for advice every time you want to invest. Now, there are some protections there are some practices that we use in order to protect our investments. And I don't know about you, but joint ownership helps. Now you're becoming one. If you can do joint ownership, you protect each other. And I know Sister Mwaniki may say something about that from a legal perspective. But from a financial perspective, it's always good to protect your money by having joint ownership as a family. I have seen, yes. And then, of course, diversify your investments. Don't put them all in one. Don't just say it's houses or it is land. Diversify so that you can be able to make sure that you don't risk your money in one investment area. Then, of course, health insurance protects your money. Please don't stay without a health cover. If your company is not giving it to you, please make sure you have one. If they give you and probably you want a little more, add a little more. Sometimes it's good to love yourself. Life is precious. Please do not stay without a health cover. And your education for your children, start early. Start early. It's a way of saving. Just put some money in an education policy and you'll be happy that you did. Lastly, there are 3 killers, Phyllis and Sam, that are killing investment, savings, and all manner of savings or all manner of financial management that is really leaving many families into trouble. And if you look around, especially among the very rich people, there is a tendency today to fight children going to fight over their parents' wealth after they've gone. And the legacy that you wanted to build becomes the negative. And so it is good really to ensure that you avoid debt as much as you can. Avoid debt as much as you can. Build your wealth from savings and build slowly. Going for debt, it has its plus, it has its minuses. I've been a credit manager for many years, but I know how difficult it is. Number 2, avoid peer pressure. Peer pressure is what is killing many families. They have that V8, we want it. And then you do not know where they get it from. And then you dip yourself into a mess, in a financial mess, and really you leave your family with trouble. And then lastly, of course, manage your wants and your needs so that you can be able to pick up what you need to spend your money on. Instead of really, and this one comes in most times when we want to measure up with other people, so we forget what our needs and what our wants, and so we get into trouble. So what am I saying in all this? Money is a gift from God.
Thank you.
And if you want to leave a legacy, manage it the God way. And God has given us the tools. He's given us the budget. That's a must. If you don't have it, you will find you have a problem with some. Okay? He has given us tithes and offering to remove sale from our money. so that we may know that it all belongs to him anyway. So it is up to you to return to God what belongs to him. And as you return to God, put something for yourself. Love yourselves. Put something, even when your children come, love yourselves as Sam and Phyllis. Keep something for yourself, and while you keep it, don't keep it in the bank. Keep it invested so that it can produce more, and you can really be able to build your legacy. It is not enough for me to talk about this in 10 minutes.
Thank you.
But I hope you have picked something, and that the Lord is going to bless your union. And anytime you have something to discuss in this area, I'm always available. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you. Wapi makofi ya Rose Mwaneki. Makofi yake tafadhali Rose Mwaneki. Alikuwa anaongelea mambo ya financial stability ama legacy in the family. Mpigeni makofi ingine mzuri tafadhali. 1, 2, 3, 4. Funga, fungua. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, also 10 minutes. Poleni najua tunawapatia muda ambao hatukuwa tumeka kwa ratiba, lakini you all know that we started very late, so we have to try and accommodate everyone because some speakers are also leaving, and also we have some of our guests who are also planning to leave, na hatungependa watu waende kama wajaonja the cake and also every session. Now next on stage to speak matters and legal aspect, securing your family future is none other than Tabitha Mwaneki. Makofi yake anapokuja Tabitha Mwaneki. Karibu sana. Makofi tafadhali anapokuja kuongelea mambo ya legal aspect and securing family's future. Karibu sana mami.
Good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon Phyllis and Sam. So happy for you. This has been a beautiful occasion. Legal issues in marriage. I believe now you have given your notices at the state law office and you are good to go because your marriage is on next week. And so you're ready to, you have done what you need to do. I just want to talk about a few things. And one of the things I would like to talk about, and I'm happy to talk after the finance talk, is why is the government interested in marriage? Sorry, why do we have laws that regulate marriage? Why is it marriage? Why is it important? And I think the reason why the government is interested in marriage is because the family is the basic unit in the society. And so it's a basic unit, and it needs to be recognized, and it needs to be protected by the state. Because when marriages have problems, then the country has problems, because the marriage is the most basic unit in society. That is where children are brought up and nurtured. That is where people find comfort and refuge during difficult times. And so marriage and family are very important. And that's why the government has to protect, recognize, and promote marriages. From inception, all our marriage laws were imported, just like all the other laws from our colonial masters, the British. And so for a long time, those are the laws that governed how marriages were conducted, how properties were shared after marriage, and even how properties were held during marriage. But when it was time for us to amend our constitution, there were very many issues that had come up. There were people who had suffered greatly because of those laws, because they were imported, they did not appreciate our circumstances. And so when the constitution-making team went around the country to collect views, people were very categorical. They told them what they liked in the law and what they did not like. And part of what they didn't like was the fact that the laws that we had did not treat both the women and the men the same at the beginning of the marriage, during the marriage, and in case the marriage ended. And so people said they want to be treated equally. The other challenge that was there was in the unfortunate event that the marriage came to an end, even when one of the person was deceased, the way that property was shared was not always fair to all the parties to the marriage. And so when we made the new constitution for ourselves, under Article 45, it was made very clear that family, which is the natural and fundamental of society and the necessary basis of social order, shall enjoy the recognition and protection of the state. That is Article 45 of the Constitution. It also said that every adult has a right to marry a person of the opposite sex based on the free will, free consent of the parties, meaning that people must marry, but marry freely. I want to believe that you have made free decisions. No one has forced you into this marriage. So those were the two very basic. It also says that the parties to a marriage are entitled to equal rights at all times in the marriage, which is at the beginning, at the initiation of the marriage, during the marriage, and at the dissolution of the marriage, if for any reason the marriage is to be dissolved. And so, as a result of these provisions, we have changed our marriage laws, and some of the basic things that have changed, for example, is previously traditional marriages were not recognized by the state. But now, if you do a traditional marriage, you are required to register it within 6 months, and that gives you a marriage certificate, which makes it easier to then say that I am married. So the kind of marriage that you plan to enter into, I believe, is a Christian marriage, and so it is a monogamous marriage, which provides for one man and one woman. Under the customary marriages, they are polygamous or potentially polygamous. But the kind of marriage you want to enter is a monogamous marriage, meaning just the two of you, and you can't change that. But if you get married under customary law, you can be polygamous, you can be potentially polygamous, but you can also convert into a monogamous marriage. That is provided for in the law. Now, after marriage, like I've said, that the interests of the state is that the family unit is protected. And so all other laws that have been put there to protect marriage. One of the protections that we now have to protect marriage is how parties hold property in a marriage. The Marriage Act and also the Matrimonial Properties Act provides that if the two of you now have property before you get married, that property belongs to either of you. It does not become matrimonial property. If you had a plot, if he had a house, that house is his. But if during the marriage, you agree to build on her plot, and the plot was in her name, if for any reason there is a dissolution of the marriage, the plot now is no longer just hers alone, because there has been an improvement which you have contributed to the plot, and you have also now decided to mix your properties. There is commingling and improvements. You have improved on the plot that he had. If on the other hand, he has a house in his name, and you decide to put an extension to the house and do improvements to the house, which she contributes to, even though the house was initially in your name and yours alone, now she has also gained an interest in the house because she has contributed to the house. Now, this has become a very intricate issue, especially when it comes to how do we deal with matrimonial property in case there is any separation or in case there is any difficulty. Because the Matrimonial Properties Act defines what, of course, matrimonial property is. It is all the property that you have as a couple that you have obtained together. But at the dissolution of a marriage, that matrimonial property, the law basically says you are entitled to 50-50%. But you are entitled to 50-50% based on your contribution. Now, you must show how you have contributed. If he's the one who had the plot and you have contributed to putting up the house, you must show how you have contributed. And so that becomes a very difficult thing sometimes to prove. How did I contribute? Did I buy the cement? He bought the stones and all that. So in line with what the financial advisor has said, I think it is very important as a couple to have an asset register. I know the accountants in the house know what we are talking about when we talk about an asset register. You know, for a long time, even as a country, we did not have an asset register until our financiers, the IMF and World Bank, have now insisted that the government must develop an asset register for the country, which details all the things that, you know, all the properties that the country owns, which, of course, from the county government, what does the county government own, what does the government own, and so all the properties are being listed. And of course, there are complications, because when you go down to the, for example, at the county level, the preschools are owned by the counties, but they are built on land that belongs to the primary school and sometimes the secondary school, which is owned by the national government. It's the same thing even in marriage. You're trying to put up an asset register. You have property that is probably in his name, which he has contributed to improving and all that. So it is important that we have an asset register, because even for your own records, it is important. The pastor has just told us that we are building this to last. But even for your own purposes, it is good to have a register. And on that register, of course, you'll record what we bought, when you bought it, and how you bought it. How did you raise the funds to buy the property? And you can keep it also as a memorial to be reminding you, this is what we did. Many people here who have properties will tell you there are times even those title deeds get lost and you can't even remember the title number. So it is important that you have an asset register, you record all your assets together, all your investments together, and how you did it. Because what happens is that later on, 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line, you may not even remember how these things happened. So it's important to keep that register, because it is very helpful. It will help you at all times during your marriage. When it comes to owning property, now the law, again, because of the kind of problems that were there before, the law is now very clear. You can register your property in both names. And even when you have a property that you are selling that is registered in your name alone and you are married, your spouse must give consent for the sale, so that people are no longer selling properties behind each other. And since you swear a statutory declaration that you are not married, if you are not married, and if you are married, then your spouse must give consent. If you attempt to sell and say you are not married, the law will catch up with you at some point. So it's important to be open with one another, how you acquire property, how you use it. If it is property that you had before, the law provides that you can have either a prenuptial agreement, or if you don't have a prenup, then at least it is clear. The Matrimonial Properties Act provides that any property you had before marriage is yours, and what is yours as a person and what your spouse had is theirs as a person to keep. But if you improve it, then you acquire an interest in that property. So apart from property and how you hold property, of course, the other issue that the law is very interested in and protects our children when finally you're blessed with children, and says that the interest of children will always be paramount. Whatever happens in your relationship, the interest of the children will always, always be paramount. The other protection that the government has put in terms of the law to protect marriage is that even if after a month, 2 months, 3 months, you decide that this thing is not working, you have to wait for 3 years. And you may wonder why. It is because public policy is to protect marriage. It is to encourage people to live together. In fact, the Marriage Act now even says that if there is any problem in a marriage, you should try first any counseling services that your church may offer and all that. And so everybody wants this marriage to last. And the government is also saying we want this marriage to last. So before 3 years, they can't even look at you. You are given an opportunity to work at it and see whether it works. And just another reminder, just to let you know that government and public policy is to protect marriage. Even if you went through divorce proceedings and the divorce proceedings ended and the judge pronounces that the marriage has now ended and you're separated, there is still a 6 months waiting period before that order can become absolute. The reason is that even after the divorce proceedings, the interest is to protect that marriage. You can still come together and continue to live together. So what we are saying is the law is there to protect your marriage. The law is there to ensure that you live together because you are forming another basic unit that is supposed to be a pillar in this society. And we would want it to remain like that until Jesus comes. May the Lord bless
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Karibu ni kujoin. Thank you. Tumpigeni makofi nzuri kabisa. Thank you for the wonderful insights. Thank you so much. I know this forum is not enough for our speakers to expound everything in regards to what they are telling us. But at least maybe in your own time, find enough time to go and visit these young people here and expound everything more than that. Sindio, it's just a forum. You know, whatever they are talking about is something that can take even 3 months or 6 months in college. Sindio, it's a topic by itself. So trying to reduce it to or summarize it to 10 minutes. I know I'm not fair, but at least I have a program to follow, and also I have a team that I have also to maintain the next session. Thank you so much. Last but not least, before we do another segment, which will require us separating, having the bachelorettes on the other side and the ladies on this other side, I want to bring the last speaker, but not least, who will speak matters communication, consultation, negotiation, relating with your spouse, in-laws, etc. This is none other than Professor Marion Mutungi. Makofi ya professor anapokuja. Huyu nitampatia, manake ni professor. Na nimeona hii topic yake iko na session mingi kidogo. Professor ndakupatia dakika 20 maximum. So if you see me coming, just know we are 15 minutes and something. Karibu sana professor.
God is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is good.
It is so easy for me to talk after my two sisters because they have said everything. So this is going to be a practical session. So I will ask that we have 2 chairs here where the Phyllis and Sam are going to sit, because all the things that we are talking about, be they money, be in-laws, be the legal matters, it's all about communication. So I want them to sit here with chairs facing each other. Because when we talk about communication, we know that in communication, there is the one who is communicating, there is the medium, and there is the receiver. We are not going to go into those details, Pauline. We are not going to go into those details. What we are going to do, we are just going to say briefly that there are 5 levels of communication, starting from the lowest level to the highest level. The first level, yes, the first level of communication is cliché. How are you? Fine. How was your trip here? Okay. The second level of communication is facts. How long did you take from town to Rongai? 10 minutes. That's fact. So the first level is, please, you must respond. Mimi ni mwalimu. The first level is, the second level is facts. Then you come to the third level, and it is the level of opinion. What do you think about this fact? My opinion is the road to Rongai is a bad road. That is my opinion. So the first level is, the second level is, the third level is, the fourth level is feelings. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? And I can say, I was annoyed because there was a matatu in front of me that wanted to hit me. I am giving my feelings. So the first level is cliché. The second level is, the third level is, the fourth level is, and then the highest level is impact. How does that impact into my goals? Where I can say, as I was coming here, I wanted to get here on time. I don't like getting late, but this affected me. So I encourage you, Phyllis and Sam, to communicate at the highest level. It takes deliberate action. That is the message. Now the listener, there are several levels, but I will just give you 3. The first one is passive listening, where you are watching TV and Sam is saying, how was your day? Fine. But you are changing the TV. There is the other one, where you are looking at him, but you decide what you want to listen. It's called selective listening. The third one is the one that is intense, and it is called echoing, where you respond. I'll give you an example. As I was coming, the road was bad. I didn't like it. The other one is, okay. The third level, which is the highest, is, what? The road was bad. So now we are going to practice. We are going to practice, and I am going to ask you a question. You are going to ask him a question. We start with you talking or with Sam talking? Who do you want to start, Sam or Phyllis? How many want Phyllis to start? How many want Sam to start? Well done. So, you are going to ask her a question. Whisper it to me so that I know. Okay.
Hey, my love, how?
Loud.
Hi, my love.
No. They are not hearing.
It's not working. Hey, my love, how do you think about this event?
I think the event is amazing.
How is the event is the question, this one. The answer is, it is amazing, isn't it? Is that first level? No. Is it second level? Facts. Is it third level? Ish. Now I want you to ask the same question, and I want you to answer with feeling. I want you to go to the 4th level. How does the... Please ask.
What do you think about this event, babe?
I think it's amazing, lovely, and wow.
That's wonderful.
How does it make you feel? That's what you're supposed to say.
Okay, it makes me feel great, more loved, and yeah, wow. Yeah.
She said this event is wonderful. It makes her feel loved. You can go ahead and say, this is what I have always dreamed, because it is part of your bigger life, isn't it? Are we together? Right. Now you are going to ask him a question, and you are going to tell us.
Mr. Wright, what are your expectations of the wedding?
Wow.
Did you hear it?
Okay, what are
Communicate, you must communicate loudly, yeah?
what are your expectations of the wedding?
Wow. That's amazing. My feeling and my expectation is that it will bring more our dreams and actually make our families come together in a bond and actually build our relationship even stronger than we've built as friends in the partnership. So that's my expectation.
He said what he expects. It will be great. He says it will make him feel, and it will do this to the larger family. Are they getting it? Makofi? Now we are going to practice the last one, which is the listening. And we say there are 3 levels, where you are talking and the other one is looking on the side or watching TV, or there is the other one where there is eye contact and then echoing. Now you will ask a question, or you bring a conversation, and then you will listen in the best way possible. Okay. Makofi to motivate them. Makofi to motivate them. Okay.
Okay, babe, listen. It was amazing actually coming to this event. Little to my expectation. I didn't expect such a crowd, and friends actually surprising us.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Yes. We came from the entrance just not knowing how the day is going to be.
Imagine.
Yeah, and to my surprise, this is my happiest day. I think the experience I have, the friends I've seen, the people I never knew, even they were that close, when they could even pay attention to our event.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm excited.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's the love.
Yeah.
Now it will be the other way, and some you must echo, where you repeat what she says in a question, with a question.
Babe, imagine what? Yeah, for the wedding, I'm so excited about the wedding.
All right.
Yeah, and I went to try my dress.
Amazing. That's good.
And guess how it looks like? So
All right.
I try fitting it, and I think it will look good on me.
Certainly it will. I have that.
And then I think it will be a showstopper.
I'm sure it is. I have no doubt about it.
I hope you like it. Great.
Sure. I don't have any doubts.
But I want the echo. The echo is, it's going to be a showstopper. Oh dear, the dress did not fit, so that it is engaging. All right? All right. So you repeat it the last time.
So, babe, for the wedding,
Yep.
I'm excited about it, and more especially my wedding dress.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yesterday I went for a fitting.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I think it's not fitting very well, but it's looking amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really nice and elegant. I think it will be a showstopper.
So I'm curious.
Well done, Makofi. Thank you very much. Communication, communication, communication. Communication is not just verbal, it is non-verbal. So if you do your head like this, really, it means something. And so on. Last but not least, I want us to mention the idea of the family. Some, you're getting married to a family where there are 5 girls who stick together like this. You have 2 options. Either you try to get Phyllis out of those 5 girls, or you marry the whole 5. So my advice to you is, if you can't beat them, join them. Make your sisters-in-laws, your friends, join them. Don't try to get Phyllis away from them to have occasions on your own. You have that. But include yourself. Let them say that actually Sam is part and parcel of this family. So buy one, get 4 free. Because trying to beat them, you can't beat 4 girls for sure. Phyllis, there is a father in this family you are going. This father is looking forward to having a daughter-in-law. He has his ideas of how a daughter-in-law should be, and we don't know them. But please let him know that you are there for him. I know sometimes there are some cultural boundaries and so forth, but let them know that actually he has gotten a daughter-in-law who is special. I'll give you 2 stories before I finish. I know one family where the sisters are like this, and somebody married one of them, and this man got involved with that family to the point that when one of the sisters, who is a single parent, was getting married, he stood as the father of that child because he was so integrated. These 5 girls helped take care of his mother because the man's mother was ailing. So when the woman would travel, one of the sisters would come and take care of the mother. I also know of another family where the woman was always sick, the mother-in-law was always sick. She was sickly. But when she got a daughter-in-law, somebody asked her, "Ai, hatuja kuona ukija hospitali lately?" She says, "Sinilipata dawa." Be dawa ya huyo mzee. I want to read one verse and then we shall call it a day. That verse, and when you get home, you're going to read it. It is in 1 Timothy. Oops. It is in 1 Timothy. It says from verse 17 that you who are rich in the world, and you are rich, nobody wears this kind of dress unless they are rich. See, they are rich. Yes. That you do not become high-minded. That is Paul talking to Timothy. Not trust in riches, uncertain riches, but in the living God who gives us richly blessings. That don't trust in these things. These things come and go. By the way, when you see some of us around kama matangi, our wedding dresses were size 8. So don't trust what you see, because some of these things come and go. That is what Timothy is being told. And then verse 18, it says, that they do good and that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate. So I want you now to communicate last and say, What do you think of what has been said so far? You are going to talk, she's going to listen. And you're going to talk, and she's going to listen. Let us see kama watapata A au wataanguka mtihani.
Thank you. Babe, I know this has been I know this experience, the day has been amazing. We've had exemplary speakers, amazing speakers. What is your take from the speakers we've had?
Okay, from the speakers, I know there was one who talked about money, and
That's
then there was one about the law, and
law.
then communication.
Oh, that's good. Law. What's about law?
Yes. So about the law, I think the most like one of the things I got from it is the law protects the children.
That's
And
very
it
important,
protects
I
the
think.
marriage.
Yeah, very true.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it's very important. Yes, like the marriage is the the family is the unit of
Basic unit.
basic unit. Yes. Okay, and what is your take home from today's talks? Yeah.
A vast of things. Firstly, the speakers were great. Starting from the first one,
Oh, great.
talking about financial giving financial advice.
Oh,
which
what
is very
about
important.
financial advice?
Yeah, and actually the most fundamental thing, it's about family,
Oh,
which is
good.
what we are looking up to actually. And I think
Perfect.
for me, I've learned so much about it. Definitely, to be honest, there is much I didn't know, but I think I have learned so much today.
Oh, great.
Makofi. Sam and Phyllis, do not be afraid to stand out in the crowd. As you entered here, you held hands, we saw you dancing and so forth. I know you are a kissy man, and I know kissy men, or I have heard kissy men don't hold hands of people in public. Don't be afraid to stand out. You did it today. Don't be afraid to stand out. I'm wearing red, everybody is wearing green. I'm not afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out. Because it is about you and Phyllis. As long as you please God and you please Phyllis, don't be afraid to stand out. And Phyllis, don't be afraid to do things that are not done by women. They say women who are working, they don't buy things for their husbands. If you can afford it, buy him a car. If you can afford it. So do not be a captive of the society or the community. Do what pleases God and pleases you. God bless you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Tupigeni Professor makofi tafadhali. No, we can do better than that. Let's appreciate our professor better. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to our speakers of the day. Speakers wote ambao wameongea, starting with our bro Steve, also Tabitha, Rose, asanteni sana, and Professor Marion. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, our next session is going to be engaging, very engaging. And we are going to have 2 teams. So we'll be having all ladies remaining here for a kitchen party. And then all men will be leaving. We'll be following our brother Kotek. So brother Kotek is at the door there. So allow me to read some few things before we separate the 2. One is we are going to have a maximum of 30 minutes from every session. So ladies, you owe me 30 minutes. Itakuwa ina flow simultaneously with the men on the other side, and I want to read the speakers so that when you go there inakuwa haraka tena sana. So for the ladies who will remain here, we have 3 speakers that will talk about kitchen party. One is Sister Grace Moturi, who will be in charge of a godly role of a woman in the home, wife, mother, homemaker, and influencer. So that will be taken care by Sister Grace Mochuri, and then will be followed next by Sister Lynette Otori, who will talk matters celebrating differences. After that, we'll be having the last speaker but not least, will be Sister Pauline George, who will speak matters women and kitchen goodness. Advice from grandmom and aunties and mothers will also follow, and then it will be a day. For the men, we'll be having our first speakers for the bachelor's party. We'll talk about building physical and emotional intimacy, which will be led by Elder Stephen Moneki, followed by Bro Steve Rundu. Will talk about godly role of a man in the home, husband, father, priest, provider, protector. Last but not least will be Elder Charles Otori, who will speak matters being a team player, advice from the grandpa, uncles, and fathers. And now, ladies, I will not say and gentlemen, ladies, now the floor is yours. I believe the first speaker should be coming, because I believe I will not be moderating this. I'm joining my fellow men for the same. So for the kitchen party, can I have Sister Grace Muturi? After your session, you will welcome the next speaker. Let's appreciate our sister. Ladies, to pick our sister Makofi.
I'm here on behalf of your mom, sister. And when you gave me this role, I've taken a lot of time to think what I've talked to you about today. And as a godly role of a woman in our home, there's a lot of things that you need to do. First of all, it takes a lot of, you need hospitality. And what does that mean? It's a friendly and a generous reception, entertainment to all guests, visitors, including strangers. That is what good hospitality includes. To love, to believe, and to respect God. And with that, when two imperfect people learn how to accept each other, love becomes an act of will that requires an effort from each other. And for now, there is still that love, 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 love. When you get married, all this love, love goes and the reality comes in. And with that, you need to listen. Loving alone does not help much, but the biggest tool that can carry you forward is to walk that talk. In the coming week, you are going to take your vows, which will end up like until death do us part. That is a very heavy statement. There are times when you will not want even to look at your husband. There will be arguments. They will be talking to one another, to each other. But in all this, the key to this is to listen and empathize with the other person's feeling, and then be best friends. You can disagree, and it's good to agree to disagree, which is okay, with grace. At the same time, understand one another's character. The likes and dislikes is a crucial in a home to maintain a healthy relationship. Like now, you are used to arranging your things. Women are very neat. You will find one time he's removing his socks just on the floor. You've told him, please put them in the basket. Again, the next day, they will be on the floor. It is aggravating, but you can train him with love and talk to him, and then it will be okay. And then the other thing is how to be a mother, which is the biggest role for every woman in this world. A mother is a selfless, loving human being who must sacrifice many of her wants and needs to satisfy the needs of her household. Once the baby comes, all your wants and needs move aside, and now the baby is the focus. And I've seen other people where even their husbands get jealousy because the attention they were getting now goes away, and now the focus is on the baby. You can work around that and yet mingle and make it one threesome loving family. The other thing is a mother works very hard to make sure their children are equipped with knowledge, skill, and ability to make it competent as a human being. You, as a mother, like in a matatu, there's a driver and a conductor. The conductor is the most important person in that matatu because he knows who alights where, he knows who has paid the fare, how much they pay, and at the end of the day, he's the one who is responsible to account for the money for the day. The driver is just driving, and that's your husband. He'll be just driving, but you are the conductor to run the home and make sure it is held together and functioning and successful at the end of the day. And then, as a mother, at times, one completely and totally gets overwhelmed in the best possible way by love, joy, responsibility, and resiliency, which means selflessness. You give up your own self for the sake of your children and your household. There is not a greater joy in the universe than motherhood. You love unconditionally, always doing what is best for your family, especially putting your children's needs before you and your own. As a mother, you care for your household, keep your house in order, tidy and neat. Most men like neat women, clean, good cooking, give them a healthy meal and keep him top notch. And then you care both for your family, which will exhibit love and compassion, which is sensitive to family needs, and do your best for the family. And now, as a homemaker, you fulfill the family needs for comfort, security, safety, and good health. A homemaker has a great responsibility in running a home smoothly and efficiently. As a homemaker, you must have some managerial abilities. It doesn't matter whether you have any degree. Our grandparents or some of our mothers never went to school, but they had very good managerial skills of running a home, which is the biggest responsibility in a woman in marriage. And you have to have those qualities and in order to have a successful marriage. You are an ambassador who motivates, inspires, persuades to impact thoughts and opinions of others. You help to build interest and trust in your opinion with those who surround you. Mostly, now you are going to make a bridge between your family and Sam's family, where you are going to be one. So, the bridge that you have built will exhibit what kind of love or a person you are in order for all the yugis to be respected and good family that we brought into our home. And with that, I leave you with the book of Colossians 4, verses 5 to 6, which says, "Be wise in the act towards the outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer to everyone." If you have that, then you have no problem. I have been put in very big shoes to fit for your mom. She was a great family-oriented woman, strong, and we can see through her the products of her fruits is what you are today. My daughter, I'm wishing you all the best. Take care.
Thank you so much. I want to introduce my sister Lynette. Sister Lynette has been very close to us. She's also an auntie to Phyllis, and she's not just a churchmate. She's been our women ministry leader for such a long time, And we want to thank God for Sister Lynette. So at this time, I want to hand over to our Sister Lynette.
Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon, Warembo. Good afternoon, Phyllis. Beautiful day it is. Karibuni sana. We want to talk about celebrating differences. And we all know that we are all different, unique in our own ways. The differences stem from many factors. But before I talk about those differences and how we can celebrate them, I want to tell you about one lady. I was doing a session like this. And one lady, when we talked about sharing, celebrating differences, she told us how she would be so upset because the husband used to break the wind at night when they are sleeping, and it would be very uncomfortable. One other lady said she snores at night, and that really upsets the husband. So Phyllis, I don't know whether you snore or whether you prefer to break the wind at night. But we can all imagine how uncomfortable that can get, isn't it? Now, different people are unique in their own ways. As we sit here, we come from different cultural backgrounds, and we do things differently. Some of the things that give us differences are personality types. You and Sam are definitely different in terms of your personalities. In terms of personalities, we have extroverts and we have introverts. The extroverts are so outgoing. They like to talk a lot. They like to mix with people. They like to take part in activities. Introverts want to do things by themselves. They want to work alone. They are not party-like, celebration-oriented. I know you like parties a lot. So it is important that you appreciate your differences when it comes to personality types, because you look at things differently. The other bit is cultural differences. Culture is not just about the tribe. Culture is also how we have been socialized. If you have somebody who was brought up in the village, for example, they do their things differently. If you are born in town, you do your things differently. So it is important to appreciate, because you are two different people with different cultural backgrounds, and you need to have a middle ground when it comes to doing issues. I am happy that you're of the same religion, so we will not even talk about religious differences. Age can also be a factor in marriage. I don't know how old you are, even if you're my friend and my niece. I do not know how old Sam is. But sometimes age can bring in differences that can make people not to communicate well, like the professor talked about, because then our thinking, our world view of things is totally different because of our age. I am happy that the financial expert talks about finances. Financial differences can bring up issues in marriage, and that's why it is important to appreciate the fact that we cannot be the same. Some could be earning more money than yourself, could be earning more money than some. But remember, on Sunday, you will be joined as one. And therefore, it is important to probably bring your basket together and decide how you're going to monitor that. Educational differences bring up issues in marriage. There are people who say it is love that matters. But sometimes you have seen, and I think the sad thing that we can all bear witness is that sometimes we have beautiful weddings. We dance the way we have danced. And then even before we recover from the aches from our bodies, you just hear that the couple has separated. So some of this, we really need to pray about it. So I was talking about educational differences. In case there are those educational differences, probably you want to aspire and do a PhD. If some is not interested in pursuing, it does not mean that that will affect your marriage, because we have different ambitions and we have different ways of getting our self-actualization. There are people who would be okay with their first degree and they are perfect. And there are people who want to further their studies. It doesn't mean that probably as a woman, if you have a higher educational degree, then you look down upon your husband. Please remember that you have been put together because of one thing. Now, I want to relate that with a concept. And before I talk about that, I want us to think about Mount Sinai. You recall when God, what happened at Mount Sinai? Anyone just shout? What happened at Mount Sinai? God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. Why did Moses stand on top of the mountain? I want us to think about that, to reflect on that. As we reflect on that, I don't know if there is, I know there are people here who have read the book Romeo and Juliet. Let me see how many people read that book. Romeo and Juliet, perfect. And one of the scenes in that book, without going into the details, that is a very good scene, is the balcony scene. They say that Romeo sneaked into the home of Juliet. And because these two families were enemies, she stood at the balcony and she was looking at him down. You can imagine yourself at the balcony and you're whispering to Sam down there. Doesn't it sound romantic? Okay, so I want to bring that celebration of differences to a concept that was advanced by somebody called Ronald Hafez. He talks about moving from the dance floor to the balcony. You know, when the speaker was talking about the dance and he was dancing, I said, how does God work? Because my session uses that concept of the dance floor and the balcony. What does he mean? When you're dancing, did you see the ladies dancing? They were all filled here. Imagine all these ladies in this middle circle. So what do you think was happening on the dance floor? The women, the ladies were dancing. The space was not enough. I saw so many of them sweating. They were sweating because it was hot. The space was a little. There was a lot of congestion. When you move from that dance floor to the balcony, there is more fresh air in the balcony because there are fewer people in the balcony. There are not many people, so they are not sweating. There's fresh air. Why is it better in the balcony? Because when you're in the balcony, you can now see the moves. You can see the women, how they are dancing, and you can see how they are enjoying the rhythm and the music. When you're at the balcony, you are able to see how they will come in and how they will exit. But you will not be able to see that when you're on the dance floor. So I want to encourage you as you go to be with your husband, because of the differences that we have talked about. And one speaker said, sometimes you will mutakosana. It is normal in marriage. They say even roses have thorns. When you reach that point where you feel the differences are getting into you, you're getting upset, move from the dance floor to the balcony, because it gives you time to do what? To reflect and to ask yourself, why did he look at this issue from that perspective? Kwa nini amenikosea? And then at the end of the day, you will realize hajakukosea. It is only that he's looking at the issue from a different perspective. Encourage Sam to also move from the dance floor to his own balcony. Get breathers and time to do what? To breathe and to relax and to reflect. Reflect. As you move from the dance floor to the balcony, please do not forget to come back to the dance floor, because the dance is happening where? On the dance floor. That way you will have accommodated each other. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you will be upset, like people have said. Do not leave your house, and when we meet you at church or we meet you somewhere, we can just tell from your face, Phyllis is not happy. They say, don't wash your dirty linen in public. These ladies will tell you that it is not ice cream and cake every day. There are times they even cry and their pillows get wet. But when they wake up in the morning, they dust their tears They do nice makeup like you have done, and they walk out, and everybody thinks Phyllis's marriage is the best marriage because you're keeping and resolving your issues on the dance floor and where? And in the balcony. And remember, the balcony is closer to God. So prayer is key. I'll finish with a short story. It's a personal experience. One time, I was a high school teacher, and the school I taught was in a dusty place. I think we all know why. Before the inroads were built. So one time with a friend, we were coming to Nairobi. We entered a matatu. When we got to town, you know when you come to town, you're coming to meet people who are coming from the offices. They are wearing very high-heeled shoes, looking very nice. And you have come from, you can imagine how your feet look like. People will even think you have false eyelashes because your eyebrows are dusty. So I told my friend, we have to clean ourselves. So we got to the nearest shoe shiner. And then the shoe shiner looked at us and asked, "Hey, mama, mumetoka mwiki ama rwai?" We laughed. And then my friend told me, she was also a literature teacher. She told me, tomorrow we are going to teach The Wretched of the Earth. Any literature people here by Franz Fanon. So the following day we went, and we were both Form 4 class teachers. We put our boys together and we told them, today we are going to talk about The Wretched of the Earth by Franz Fanon. Because we were like, how can the man have guessed so right where we had come from? Because the testimony was written on us. So please don't step out of your house and everybody can see stress. Because it is not going to be smooth all the way. But who says it cannot be smooth all the way? Who is our God in heaven? I want to pray that you have a happy marriage. Just remember to celebrate your differences, because those differences are what make people to separate, to argue, to fight. Please just remember that when you have those moments, get out of the dance floor and move to the balcony. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Makofi, makofi tafadhali. Hiyo ilikuwa moto, si ndio? Sasa the next speaker atakuongelesha ukiwa hapo, si ndio? Akiwa hapa chini, si ndio? Now our next speaker is an entrepreneur, a beauty designer, na hako na duka ya outfits za beauty at 680. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Pauline George. Makofi kwake tafadhali, anaongea. Karibu sana.
I'll stand on the existing protocols. First of all, this is the best, the very best bridal shower I've ever attended. History has been made. You people have raised the bar very, very high. What has happened today, I'm sure by the time we all start posting it on our Twitter, on our Facebook, now people will think we brought Naija to Kenya. Hello. You ladies look beautiful. Not to talk of the bride. Hello, my bride. Just stand up and ha 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 ha. You see, what has happened now shows that there is love in the air. It's so loud. You know when we say loud in Lagos, this is so loud. Even women who came in here not feeling so much in the mood, they had to start enjoying it. You see, all these just for you. Even your friend came all the way. What do I say? Ladies, even look at Did you look at all your sisters and your friends and your aunties? Do you know they actually took time? And that's what we want you to do. Hello? Serving with good plates. Not serve your pastor with good plates. Your husband is the head. Serving with good plates. You know, you ladies, when you watch the Afro cinema, one of the things you people notice, whether the movie is done in an expensive house or is done in a poor home, the woman actually serves the man well. When you serve him well, now you can tell him what you want. Please, I'd like to ask for more money. In Nigeria, if you are richer than your husband and you don't ask, somebody else will ask outside. So you ask. It is your right. That's why you must serve him well. Once you've served him well, in fact, you start like this. You start thinking of the cuisine for the day. You know, ladies, you ladies are so lucky. Those of us who are so young, that are 50 and above, do you know that during our own time, we didn't have the YouTube to learn from? We had to start practicing. Sometimes we make the chapati, it is as hard as cake, and no, as biscuit. Sometimes we feel like making something, we can't even get it right. But you ladies now, you are so lucky. Everything is on the internet. Even if you want to make him a goosey soup, it's on the internet. Even if you want to make him luo soup, it's on the internet. Everything is on the internet. So, don't only learn fashion, learn to cook. When you learn new cuisine every day, you will now know how to take money. Secondly, you have to learn his mother's technique. Ladies, am I speaking your mind? You think you snatched him from his mother. Hello. He's still tied to his mother. So you have to learn her technique. Anytime you go there, don't be busy washing the plates. No, leave that one first. Sit down. Watch her timing. We all cook with tomatoes, kitungu and everything. But when I cook, when you cook, when her mom cooks, it's different. So sit and watch his time and watch her timing. When you need money, I'm sorry, you people are wondering, this woman likes money. If you've been to my shop, you will know I'm expensive. I like money. I'm not apologetic about it. Because I could have left my father's house with all that money, now coming to marry a Kenyan, and, oh, did I tell you my name is Paulina George Otieno? And I'm a high chief in Nigeria. That's why when you saw me on the road trip during Magoha's burial, that I was that chief you saw leading that delegation. I'm Chief Paulina George. Hello. So you see, now you have learned that one. What we call it in Nigeria is that we've held the man by his scrotum. You know, when you hold a man there, he cannot turn. You see, we don't need punching. We have many techniques of fighting. Anytime you see he's angry, wear bikini. Very nice, sexy ones. And be moving around the house. Be moving around the house. Be wriggling it. So there are many techniques of fighting. That there will be nothing to make you angry. There will be many. You see, you think you are beautiful. But do you know you are not the most beautiful woman in the world? Men don't marry women because they are beautiful. Hello? He saw many, but he chose you. And you see, when God gives you work, when you say, oh, God, bless me, you know, we all pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, bless me today. Bless. You are saying, oh God, give me more work. So now God is giving you extra work. And that extra work, part of it is, you must know how to do it at night. Hello. There is no technique you do that is more than what they have already done. So if you think, oh, I've given it to him, even before you start, the man is already asleep and he's snoring. What can you do? Married women, am I speaking your mind? Married women, am I speaking your mind? The man sees that you are in the mood and he's already telling you, I might have an appointment tomorrow. What can you do? Nothing. Instead of you to stay there and be plotting evil, there's no need to plot evil. These men don't know. They sleep and they snore. Every man sleeps and he snores. And you are there looking up like a witch. Checking the number of poles. You see, so what do you do then? You just plan for him. He got away today. Will he get away tomorrow? No. You start from calling him in the office. Daddy, how are you today? You know you are calling him baby. That's why he's sleeping. Call him daddy. Babies don't have any other work but to sleep. When you have your baby, you understand what I mean. You feed the baby sleeps. The baby wakes up, the baby sleeps. The baby sleeps. When you want action, you must look for a name. Whenever you call him that name, his heart should be palpitating that tonight is the night. I'm gonna make you my woman. In fact, you yourself, the kind of food you cook, you don't. If you think, if you give him ugali to weaken him, don't give him ugali. Give him something light. Then if he tells you, this food, I will be hungry in the night, tell him, don't worry, I have something else waiting. So that means that after you've cooked every day, you must shower. You might be unlucky and he wants it every day. What can you do? Ladies, we've gone through it. When now he's young, he wants it every day. And you're telling him, is it food? Is it food? Hello? He will get tired when he gets to a certain age. And that time you are now calling him, what you taught me to do. Now get up, let's do it. He tells you, no, the heart is willing, but the body is not. It's not even responding. Not because he's sick, but because now he's thinking about, that mama said he will be thinking about money. Another one is thinking about the laws. But you see, bedroom matters do not need all those shenanigans. You see, that's why you see that it's better you leave all your worries at the cross of the Calvary when you come into the house. Now the home is now for, hello? Bam, 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 hello? Bam, 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 anywhere. Bam, 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 hello? Bam, 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 give it to me. Hey, hey, hey. You see? That's what the house is for. Not where we come. We're now drawing books. If you want to write all those things, meet him in the office. Now he's thinking with his mind. Not when he's in the mood. You are telling him, we need to talk. Talk waiting when he's standing at a standing ovation. Hello. Pray it doesn't come down. If it comes down, it might be next week. Because now he gets to the office, he's telling people, you know, I married a very educated woman. When it's time, she wants to discuss. This, for men, you people must have heard, men have only two brains. If one is asleep, the other one is working. If one is working, the other one is asleep. Men are not like us. We can multitask. That's why many of you get angry. But Why will that man, and that man calls himself a man of God. Why is he looking at women? Hello, this one has slept. So when one wakes up, the other one sleeps. When this one sleeps, this one wakes up. So you should know that we're not fashioned like men. And we're his helper. If you learn to help him well, you become the boss. You people complain, these Nigerian women look so tough. Because we know one thing is the key to his heart. We serve him. We serve him to the extent that we become his house help. And then we're doing like this. It's a lie. It's the money we want to collect. Daddy, you were bad. We're picking his nails. We're cleaning this. It's not true. After we've collected the money, you will see our eyes will change. And you will not believe it's the same woman who was so nice to you. Do you see? So you must know when to do what. You see your house helps. You have many house helps. Like lazy ladies like me, I have like 4 house helps. One will do the garden. Mom, you know how we do it in Rwanda? One does the garden. One drives the car. Or 2 drives the cars. Another one cleans downstairs. Another one cleans upstairs. And then one takes care of you. But not your husband. You see, even if you know, we don't want to lie to you single ladies. A time will come, you will not be the superwoman you are now. And you don't have all the energy to do all the cooking. But you tell them, you cut the onions, you cut the tomatoes, this. So you mix it. But you must hide your Maggi and your Royco. Nobody must know the quantity you put. So they've seen you do. So that when you are having your baby and you are not at home, when they cook the food, the husband will say, there's something wrong with that food. Sometimes she cooks it, it's too salty. Sometimes she cooks it, it doesn't have taste. Because that's secret. Don't you watch it in our commercials? You hide it inside your lasso. You see, you must have an ace. So when you finish cooking, you go and shower. You are part of the food. Why are we lying? You are part of the food. So you must sit while you are serving the food. Even you yourself. Yeah, just, your dress must have cleavage. You're sitting by, you're pouring the water. He's not an imbecile, he can pour his water. You're pouring water. He's eating, sometimes you use the napkin. So, you see, once you get used to it now, in your old age, you would have gotten used to it. Your husband is your brother. If they've not told you, he's your first son. We learned to build forgiveness. So you have a big bag of forgiveness. Even single ladies, start practicing it. Because, make sure you invite me for yours. I don't know what color you people will choose next. Your bag of forgiveness must be big. So by the time he annoys you, men don't know when they annoy us. Imagine a man buys you a sandal, you get upset. He doesn't buy it, you get upset. He buys you a car, you get upset. He doesn't buy it, you get upset. So even sometimes, they don't even know what to buy. Ask married women here. Some of us, our husbands have stopped buying. He buys this one, you complain. Can you imagine a greedy woman like me? My husband was going to buy me a Range Rover. And I was complaining about the color. Is my head correct? It's not correct. See? Because if it was correct, I would have told him yes. Imagine my driver told me, Madam, this range is short. Now the man got angry, he didn't buy it. Eventually, when I now was nice, After 3 years, he eventually bought. Will you wait for Jesus Christ to come down from the cross before you get him to do what you want? When he brings it, say thank you. That thank you would help. You teach your children too to say thank you. You see? And don't say because he bought it, then you use it carelessly. Because when a man buys you a dress, my God, this is what they do. If you wear it and you want to wear it again, say, but you wore it. You want to spoil it. You will even feel like getting angry. So you would ask him, that dress is not for me. Do you think it's good for this? No, he said, no. Keep it for a special occasion. He doesn't know it's not the best dress you have.